This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute professional medical advice. Please consult with your doctor or a qualified healthcare specialist before starting any new vitamins or supplements mentioned in this video. Use of this information is at your own risk. You are eating something right now, likely at every single meal, that is slowly but surely shutting down the very system that keeps you upright. You aren't eating junk food or processed sugar. In fact, you are eating exactly what every wellness influencer and nutritionist has spent the last decade telling you is the holy grail of health. But for you, specifically because you are over the age of 60, this food is not building you up. It is tearing you down. It is creating a biological environment where your body has no choice but to consume itself. Welcome to Eldra Fit Nutrition. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. We are here to uncover the truths that standard medicine often overlooks, especially for those in the prime of their lives. This matters because your muscles are not just for aesthetics. They are your organ of longevity. They are the armor that protects your bones, the engine that drives your metabolism, and the foundation of your independence. But after 60, a terrifying process called sarcopenia, the involuntary loss of muscle mass, begins to accelerate. For many, this isn't a natural part of getting older. It is a symptom of a digestive system that has been muted. Imagine your body as a high-performance vehicle. You are putting the most expensive fuel into the tank, but the fuel line is severed. Because the nutrients can't reach your cells, your body enters an emergency survival mode. It looks at your thighs, your glutes, and your back muscles, and it sees a source of emergency amino acids. It begins to dissolve your own muscle fibers just to keep your heart beating and your brain functioning. This is the silent robbery. You feel it when the stairs seem a bit steeper than they did last year. You feel it when you struggle to open a jar or when you feel a strange, persistent frailty in your limbs despite eating well. Most people, and even many doctors, will tell you it's just what happens when you get older. They tell you to accept the walker, the cane, and the loss of strength as an inevitable fate. They are wrong. What if the reason your muscles are wasting away has nothing to do with your age and everything to do with a specific paralysis occurring in your gut? What if the very foods you started eating to stay healthy are the ones preventing you from absorbing the protein you desperately need to survive? By the time we reach the end of this discussion, you will understand the hidden mechanism that is turning your healthy meals into metabolic poison. You will learn why your body is choosing to eat itself, and more importantly, how to flip the switch to stop the destruction and start rebuilding. Before we reveal the specific triggers, it is vital that you don't miss the upcoming steps of this protocol. If you find this information valuable for your journey to strength, please subscribe to the channel. Your support gives us the motivation to continue researching and bringing these life-changing insights to our community. Now, I want you to take a moment to reflect on your own journey. Look back at the last 6 months of your life and answer this honestly in the comments. Do you feel that your physical strength is A, staying the same or improving because of your healthy habits? B, decreasing despite the fact that you are trying to eat better than ever? Please comment A or B below. Your answers help us understand how widespread this silent robbery really is. To understand why your muscles are disappearing, we must look at the 3 invisible barriers within your digestive tract that begin to rust after the age of 60. Without these 3 checkpoints working in perfect harmony, the most nutritious meal in the world is nothing more than waste passing through a hollow tube. The first and most critical barrier is your stomach acid, specifically hydrochloric acid or HCl. Think of your stomach as a furnace. In your 30s, this furnace burned white hot, instantly vaporizing proteins and breaking them down into the essential amino acids your muscles crave. But after 60, the fire begins to dim. Research shows that nearly 40% of older adults suffer from significantly low stomach acid. Without that acidic fire, protein remains in large, clunky chains. It sits in your stomach like a heavy stone, fermenting and putrefying rather than nourishing. This is why you might feel bloated or heavy after a healthy meal. It isn't the food's fault. It's the furnace that has gone cold. The second barrier is the strike at the factory. your pancreatic enzymes. Once food leaves the stomach, your pancreas is supposed to release a specific set of chemical scissors called proteases. These scissors are designed to snip those protein chains into tiny, absorbable bits. However, as we age, the communication between our gut and our pancreas becomes sluggish. The factory goes on strike. Even if you manage to break down some protein in the stomach, if these enzymes aren't present in high enough concentrations, the process stalls. The nutrients remain locked inside the food matrix, unreachable and unusable. Your body is screaming for amino acids to repair the micro tears in your muscle tissue, but the keys to the warehouse have been lost. Finally, we reach the third and most tragic barrier, the paving of the garden. The inside of your small intestine is lined with millions of microscopic, finger-like projections called villi. These villi are the actual gateways where nutrition enters your bloodstream. In a healthy state, they provide a massive surface area for absorption. But after decades of exposure to low-grade inflammation and specific dietary disruptors, these fingers begin to flatten. It is as if a lush, vibrant garden has been paved over with concrete. When the villi flatten, your absorption capacity shrinks by up to 90%. You could eat a pound of the highest quality grass-fed beef, but if your intestinal garden is paved over, only a tiny fraction of that protein will ever reach your biceps or your heart. This is the biological tragedy of the rusted machine. You are doing everything right on the outside, but on the inside, the gates are locked, the furnace is out, and the garden is dead. This leads to a state of starvation in abundance. Your blood sugar might be stable and your calorie count might be perfect, but your muscles are literally starving to death because they cannot access the building blocks of life. This internal failure creates a feedback loop of weakness. As your muscles weaken, your metabolism slows, and as your metabolism slows, your digestion becomes even more sluggish. To break this cycle, we have to look past the what of your diet and focus intensely on the how your body perceives, processes, and pulls life from the plate. We are about to look at the 5 specific healthy foods that are responsible for rusting this machine and paving over your intestinal garden. The first food that will likely shock you is the very foundation of many modern health diets: raw nuts and unsprouted whole grains. You consume them for their fiber and plant-based protein, believing they are fortifying your frame. However, these seeds of life contain evolutionary defense mechanisms known as phytic acid and lectins. In a youthful digestive system, these are minor hurdles, but after 60, they become insurmountable walls. These anti-nutrients bind to essential minerals like zinc and magnesium in your gut, creating insoluble complexes that your rusted machinery cannot break. Without zinc, your body loses the chemical key required to synthesize new muscle protein, meaning the very health food you are eating is effectively locking the doors to your own recovery. The second culprit is found in the creamy textures of your favorite health alternatives: soy and plant-based milks laden with emulsifiers like carrageenan. While marketed as heart-healthy, these additives act like a biological detergent, stripping away the delicate mucosal lining that protects your gut wall. This leads to the dreaded leaky gut, where undigested food particles escape into your bloodstream, triggering a state of permanent red alert for your immune system. Third, we must address the super salad trap. Large portions of raw, cruciferous vegetables are packed with cellulose, a structural carbohydrate that requires immense amounts of stomach acid and specific enzymes to dismantle. After 60, your stomach simply cannot produce the fire needed to break these down. Instead of nourishing you, these raw greens sit in your colon, fermenting and creating toxic byproducts that further inflame your intestinal lining, blocking the absorption of life-sustaining amino acids. Fourth, the pervasive use of refined vegetable oils, high in omega-6 fatty acids, creates a hidden firestorm. These oils are chemically unstable. They oxidize rapidly, releasing a flood of free radicals that attack the very villi or absorption fingers we discussed earlier. Finally, there is the deception of hidden sugars found in low-fat health products. These sugars feed the opportunistic bacteria in your gut, leading to a profound imbalance known as dysbiosis. This shift in your internal ecosystem doesn't just cause gas or discomfort, It creates a chemical environment that actively prevents your body from recognizing and utilizing protein. You are not just eating these foods, you are providing the tools for your own biological decline, unknowingly sabotaging the very strength you are trying to preserve. This dietary interference triggers a terrifying downward spiral that defines the true tragedy of aging, the moment your body decides to prioritize survival over strength. After 60, your internal ecosystem, the microbiome, undergoes a profound shift. The diverse army of beneficial bacteria that once protected your gut begins to thin out, replaced by pro-inflammatory species that thrive on the undigested debris left by your failing machinery. This is not merely a digestive issue, it is a systemic catastrophe. As these harmful bacteria multiply, they release lipopolysaccharides, endotoxins that cross your compromised gut barrier and enter your circulation. Your immune system, sensing an invasion, shifts into a state of chronic, low-grade hyperactivity. In this state of constant emergency, your body's biological priorities are forced to pivot. The immune system is an energy-intensive machine, and when it is locked in a perpetual battle with gut-borne toxins, it demands an immediate and massive supply of amino acids to produce antibodies and inflammatory cytokines. But because your healthy diet has paralyzed your absorption, there are no amino acids coming in from the outside. In a desperate act of biological survival, your brain sends a signal to begin autocannibalization. It looks at the muscle fibers in your thighs, your calves, and your core as a reservoir of emergency fuel. It begins to systematically dismantle your own muscle tissue, breaking down the proteins that allow you to walk and stand, just to keep the immune system armed. This is why you feel that inexplicable weakness in your legs, a frailty that seems to bypass the clean eating habits you've worked so hard to maintain. Your body is literally eating itself from the inside out to stay alive, sacrificing your future mobility for your present survival. The more inflammation these healthy foods create, the faster the cannibalization occurs. This vicious cycle, where gut dysfunction leads to immune overactivity, which in turn leads to muscle wasting, is the hidden engine of rapid aging. You aren't just getting old, you are being consumed by a survival mechanism that has run amok because it no longer receives the nutrients it needs from the world around it. This internal theft continues silently, day after day, until the foundation of your independence is gone. To break the cycle of self-cannibalization and reclaim the sovereignty of your physical frame, you must shift your focus from the quantity of what you eat to the biological availability of how you absorb. Your body is not a machine that has failed. It is a fortress that has run out of the specific raw materials needed for maintenance. The first step in the restoration protocol is to provide your system with the gold standard of bioavailable protein, high-quality eggs, wild-caught fish, and hydrolyzed collagen. These sources require the least amount of metabolic tax to be converted into the amino acids your muscles are crying out for. Unlike the complex plant proteins found in raw nuts or soy, these animal-based proteins arrive with a molecular structure that your aging furnace can still recognize and dismantle. Second, you must reignite the fire of your digestion. If your stomach acid is low, the most expensive steak in the world is useless. Incorporating a small amount of raw apple cider vinegar or fresh ginger before your main meals acts as a chemical spark, signaling your stomach to lower its pH and prepare for the heavy lifting of protein breakdown. Third, you must end the era of raw-only health. By lightly steaming or slow cooking your cruciferous vegetables, you are effectively pre-digesting the tough cellulose that otherwise paralyzes your gut. You keep the vitamins while losing the thyroid-disrupting and gut-blocking anti-nutrients. To heal the paved-over garden of your intestinal villi, specific targeted support is non-negotiable. L-glutamine and zinc are the master architects of gut repair. They work to seal the tight junctions of your intestinal wall, ending the systemic inflammation that drives muscle wasting. Finally, you must repopulate your internal world with traditional fermented foods like sauerkraut or kefir. These living sentinels provide the enzymes and beneficial bacteria that your body can no longer produce in abundance. When you remove the interference and restore the infrastructure, your body will stop looking at your muscles as a fuel source and begin seeing them as the asset they were meant to be. The true tragedy of modern aging is that we have been conditioned to accept a slow, painful decline as an inevitable fate. We are told that the loss of our strength, the fog in our minds, and the frailty of our limbs are simply the price we pay for living past 60. But as we have explored today, the silent robbery occurring within your body is not a result of the years on your calendar, but the choices on your plate. We have been sold a version of health that was designed for 30-year-old digestive systems. And by following it blindly, we have inadvertently allowed our own biology to turn against us. Reclaiming your vitality requires a radical shift in perspective. It requires you to stop listening to the loud, generic marketing of the wellness industry and start listening to the quiet, persistent signals of your own cells. Strength is not just about the size of your muscles. It is a reflection of your body's internal integrity. When your gut is healed, your hormones are balanced, and your cells are nourished, the biological necessity for your body to consume itself disappears. You move from a state of emergency survival to a state of robust thriving. The path forward is one of intentionality. It is about understanding that your body, even after 6 decades of life, possesses an incredible, untapped capacity for regeneration. It is never too late to stop the theft, to rebuild the fortress, and to protect the independence that makes life worth living. You have the knowledge now to distinguish between what is healthy in a magazine and what is truly healing for your unique frame. Use this knowledge as your shield. Treat every meal as a choice to either fuel the fire of inflammation or to provide the building blocks of a stronger, more resilient future. The power to remain strong, active, and independent for the next 20 or 30 years is sitting right there, waiting for you to reclaim it. The most profound lesson here is that healthy is a relative term, not an absolute one. What nourishes a young body can often paralyze an aging one. True health after 60 is defined by bioavailability, not just nutrient density. If you cannot absorb it, it is not nutrition. It is a stressor. For the next 48 hours, pay radical attention to how you feel 60 minutes after eating. If you feel tired, bloated, or heavy after a healthy salad or a handful of nuts, your rusted machine is telling you that it cannot process those materials. Switch to a cooked meal with easy-to-digest protein, like a poached egg or steamed fish, and observe the difference in your energy and physical clarity. Listen to the feedback of your cells over the labels on the package. After hearing about the rusted machine and the hidden barriers to absorption, which of these symptoms have you noticed most frequently after eating your healthy meals? Bloating and heaviness, or a sudden drop in energy and physical strength? Please share your experience in the comments below. Your story might be the exact insight someone else in our community needs to hear. And if you want to continue this journey of reclaiming your strength and mastering senior nutrition, please subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us keep this mission alive.